station of the Fighting Tigers of LSU, Eagle 98.1, and worldwide on eagle981.com.
Fast and fearless, baby, here we go!
The Tiger Zone, powered by Low Bears Casino and Hotel Baton Rouge. Get your calls in now at 225-499-9898. The Tiger Zone starts now, live from the Mercedes-Benz of Baton Rouge studio. Here's Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill.
Welcome in. It is the Tiger Zone on a Wednesday night. Hunt Palmer, Jeremy Hill with you from 8 to 10 o'clock talking Fighting Tiger football, and excited to do so. Conference opener coming up this week, LSU and Mississippi State, 11 o'clock kickoff from just inside the Junction, Davis-Wade Stadium in Starkville, Mississippi. So we'll be getting you ready for that one and looking back at a quality win for LSU over an outmanned Central Michigan team. The number to call, 499-9898 in the 225 area code. We want to hear from you. Give us a call on that phone line. You can listen to us, obviously, on Eagle 98.1, or jump on the YouTube chat. That's presented by Bayou Ford. It's the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. Right there, you can listen to us, and you can catch us on demand there as well if you don't catch the entire show. Jay Hill, how we doing?
Doing good, man. Get some SEC ball this week. Let's roll.
We do get a little SEC ball this week. We'll take a look at the games in the conference slate here later in the second hour, but it's all LSU right now. We're looking for your phone calls again. 499-9898 is the number to call. Tigers beat Central Michigan 49-21 as we go back. And look, I was pretty upfront all week entering that game saying, look, this is a game, if you continue to play poorly, you continue to not be able to run the ball, if you bust assignments on defense and you're not where you need to be in the offensive scheme, you can lose this game against Central Michigan. And they didn't. They went out and played their best game of the three, which is not a huge bar to set, but they got a victory, 49-21. Your thoughts on the game overall?
Yeah, there were some things that I wanted to see going into that game, and I think those questions were answered. Those are the type of things you want to see progress, and that was the linebacker and safety play. Yeah, there were a couple big bust plays, but for the total part of that defense, I think the defense played extremely well, and that's something that I would have loved to see, and I saw that in the Central Michigan game based off of how they played at UCLA. So I think for the offense too, just continue to evolve as an offense. I think that UCLA game plan, I'm glad they tossed that out. They opened things up a lot more and just running jet sweeps with Kayshawn and finding different ways to hit the edges and things. So I think also too, Max definitely has more confidence now. So those are the things I wanted to see, and it's going to be good watching them march in Starkville.
Phone lines are already buzzing. Keaton calling us up from Birmingham. He already chatted with Coach O. I've got a feeling he's not going to tell me Mississippi State's going to win on Saturday by 30. Keaton, what's up?
Yes, sir. The tone has been set. It has been set. We just going to run a couple facts about last year versus Mississippi State. Y'all give me just a moment. Just a couple facts. Derek Stingley didn't play. Facts. Jay Ward was fresh off the operating table. Facts. Darren Evans was on the team for like 3 minutes before the game. Facts. Cordell Flott had to play out of position. Facts. It was Elias Rick's first game ever. Facts. And we didn't even have no crowd. Okay, all that being said, this is DBU. DBU. Mississippi State got a real problem on their hands on Saturday. It's going to be real quiet for Starkville. They might as well leave the cowbells at home. Leave them at home. Because Mad Max is getting in his bag. It's about to go down. Go Tigers.
Go, Keaton. You missed Bo Pelini was fresh off the golf course, which apparently was where he was on Friday leading up to that one. Not the best. But, yeah, look, we're going to talk about last year's game and how poorly it went and what LSU showed on tape that three teams went completely against over the next month and really shut Mississippi State down. But I think you mentioned it earlier. This is one that the Tigers probably won't forget.
Oh, no, they won't forget it. And I think Coach O doesn't want to play too much into it, the revenge factor. But it's a big deal, man. Those kids definitely, they know what Mississippi State's feeling. They know they came into Baton Rouge and got a big road win, and Leach had a lot to say after. You don't forget those things. So this is a great opportunity to open up SEC play, starting that SEC West schedule. It's going to be a great win for the Tigers. I'm feeling really good about this game. And, yeah, Keaton kind of fired me up a little bit there.
Mike Leach, get on the bandwagon. Here we go. Monique's in Baton Rouge. Monique, welcome into the show.
Hello.
Yo.
Yes. Okay. You can tell my future husband. It means so much to me for him to tell Mississippi State out the game. Out the frame, whatever he needs to do. The reason why? Well, because I was with a Mississippi State ball player named Matthew Butler for 15 years, and I plan on spending more time with him than that. And we had a bet that whenever LSU won, we dominated. And I need him to dominate this game. I need him to tear them out the frame. I need him to know I just left TJ Ribs. I got his back. This means everything to us. If nobody else, to me. I would like to travel to Starkville, Mississippi again, but he got a long road to haul. And I know he can do it. Go Tigers!
Thank you for the call, Monique. I promise you don't need to spend much time in Starkville, Mississippi. I've done it many, many times, and it ain't much going on in old Stark Vegas, but we appreciate your call. I'm sure Coach O will lock it in for you. You got to have bragging rights in the own house. That's what I'm saying. Greg's in Baton Rouge. Greg, what's up?
Hey, guys, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
First-time caller, Jeremy, my question and my comment is for you. You know, I watched you play. You're a big back. You have a lot of speed. You know, I think of you and Keelan Williams. You know, these were big backs that could move. You know, what do we have? What do we have in our stable right now that compares to you? And I'm asking this question because I think it's important when you know, we had Mettenberger, we had a decent team, but we had a great back. Who's our next great back? Can we get another big back? I'll shut up and listen to you guys talk. Thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, I just think that's not the wave of LSU now. We've totally gone away from the I formation and running toss dive left, toss dive right. It's just so many more passing plays, so much more spread out, and I think that's what they're recruiting nowadays. I don't think any of those kids weigh over 235, and we had a room full of guys that were that big, so it's just not the wave right now. But I think the guys we do have in that room still have a ton of talent. Armani Goodwin, Corey Kiner, I think the two freshman backs are probably, to me, in my eyes, when I'm just watching them, they flash them both. I think they have a higher ceiling than everyone else in that room. I would have loved to see Emery in this offense. Unfortunately, he's got to be ineligible this season, but as far as big backs go with a little speed behind them, I don't think we got that right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't have the eye that you do, but they don't have anybody as good as Jeremy Hill backfield right now. That's not even a question. But I'll let you talk. The phone line's still buzzing. 499-9898 is the number to call. What did you make of Kiner's debut last week?
Man,
it's not his debut, but kind of a coming out party of sorts.
I talked to the coaches. It looked like someone put like gunpowder in his breakfast the way he runs the ball. He just runs with a different type of anger, man. Like he gets mad when guys try to tackle him, and that's what you want to see from LSU running backs. It's just a different type of juice when I'm watching Corey run the ball. He has a purpose. I think that's what you see, and I think I would love to see that from TDP. Just watch him just get mad, just run pissed off for a game and see what happens, because what he's been doing so far just hasn't given you the production that you would love to see from LSU running back. And I think Armani Goodwin just brings that just X-factor ability where he can pop a 20-yard run, 30-yard run from anywhere on the field, and that can really open up a game. So I'm in the camp still with these young backs, man. I want to see more and more of them, and I think, you know, we'll love what we see when we give those guys more opportunities.
Look, I'm just giving objective numbers here. I'm not trying to belabor a point or bash on a kid. I'm not. Thaddeus Price has made some plays in his time at LSU, but we talked about the runs that went for 2 yards or less against McNeese and UCLA. And then in the game against Central Michigan, he carried the ball 6 times for 4 yards. I'm not sure what you want me to tell you. I'm quite confident that more of the issue is the guys in front of him than they are him, but those are the guys you got. So that's what you've got to do. And if you've got some guys that give you some ability to do some different things in the run game that aren't run right into the guard's back and fall down for 1 yard, you probably got to go to that stuff. It's at this point, there's a 3-game sample size, and it's against the worst competition you're going to play all year. Save ULM in a couple months. Yeah,
you're running into the thick of your schedule now. Now you better have your guys and know who your guys are and have that rotation set. We had, our couple test runs, our so-called preseason these last couple weeks to figure some things out, to fine-tune some things. And I think for the coaches, as the season goes on, you're going to see a tighter rotation. I know we've been playing a ton of receivers, a ton of backs. Guys have been getting opportunities all over the place, but to me, when you get in this SEC schedule, you want to have the best of the best guys out there, the guys who are the most explosive, the guys who can really move those sticks and really just keep you out of 3rd and longs. And they're going to find that rotation, and I'm excited to see who they pick. But for right now, it's more TDP. He's going to have more opportunities to, pop some runs, and hopefully he can do that.
Stefan's dialing us up on the number 499-9898. He's in Crowley. Stefan, welcome.
Y'all hear me pretty good?
Got you good.
All right, yeah, I was one of the poor, unfortunate souls in Tiger Stadium for that game last year.
So was I.
Oh, and yeah, I hadn't left the game that disappointed since the 2011 National Championship game when I threw half of my beer cooler at my flexible television screen. And, of course, I have family members that went to Mississippi State, so I heard about it. So I'm not going to say that I'm not vengeful and I don't want revenge. I absolutely do. As a matter of fact, it moved me to write a poem.
Bring it on.
It's called Hell State, Hell No. State, oh state, hell you we will not. You got away with one last year, but this year we think not. You had your way with our defense and then sauntered off with a win. It goes to show that the sun does shine on a dog's butt every now and then. We're going to shut down your offense like your clubs after 10 at night, then run all over your defense and make their mama say, that ain't right. You'll be desperate for after the game ends for something uplifting to do. In a town so utterly uninteresting that boredom kills more there than the Spanish flu. Even you know that your town has the appeal of a slow-dying mouse. If you ever lost your state college, there'd only be a free clinic and a Waffle House. So back to your kennels and cower there in shame, for this group of tigers just aren't the same. They're ready for some vengeance and looking for a fight. If you hope to survive the game, you'd better call PETA later tonight.
You the man, Stefan. We appreciate the phone call. Great job.
Thank you.
That's Stefan from over there in Crowley. Busy segment. The phone line's still buzzing. 499-9898, the number to call. Jeremy Hill and I will be with you here for another hour and 50 minutes. So get your phone calls in. Jump in the YouTube chat as well. That's always driven by Bayou Ford. We'll take a time out. It's a Tiger Zone presented by LeBears on Eagle 98.1.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals. But many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Le posso offrire un caffè? Andiamo insieme da me, non c'è.
Call Mr. Electric today for electrical repairs, upgrades, and installations.
Eagle 98.1.
Here comes the. Y'all don't really want it like.
Tiger Zone presented by LeBears. Remember, Sportsbook coming in a matter of weeks. We'll keep you posted on that. And when they pick a date and they're going to get that thing up and running, we will let you know. But we appreciate them bringing you the Tiger Zone every Wednesday. Back to the phone lines. 499-9898 is the number. Charlie's in Lafayette. Charlie, welcome.
Hey, Hunting, how you doing, Jeremy?
Doing good.
Well.
Yeah, you were always one of my favorite running backs, Jeremy, when you were in school. I remember when you had that great game against Iowa, got over 200 yards against them in the Outback Bowl. You were on fire that day.
Appreciate that, man. Thank you.
I was eating coconut shrimp in the press box that day. It was free. I thought I did a great job.
Well, yeah, but Jeremy, Jeremy was the man. I tell you what, he definitely was. I remember a run you made against 2012 against South Carolina to put the game away there too. So you've had to and one against the Aggies that same year. So I remember a lot what you did. You were great, and you always were really good with the fans too. I wanted to let you know that too.
Thank you.
One of the things, I think people are missing, looking at it, and I tell you what, I've enjoyed some of your calls. They're quite entertaining. And your comments, both you, Hunt, and Jeremy, are spot on with a lot of your comments. And I've enjoyed listening to you this year, Hunt. You've kept it in perspective and kept things positive, and I appreciate that. But one of the things that I've noticed, one of the things people are missing, and when you talk about pass protection and everything, the biggest difference between what the 2019 team had was you had Clyde Edwards-Helaire that could do blitz pickups, and he was invaluable that year. Plus, he was good receiving and catching the ball out of the backfield. So I haven't seen a running back yet that can do that, but I can see where, like, Armani Goodwin would be really good at that. I'm also wondering if Ty Davis-Price, who I really like, and he's a good, nice young man, but is he carrying a little bit too much weight? Is it hurting his quickness there? I'm wondering. And I really think the freshman receivers, they just need to be the ones starting right now, with the exception of Kayshon Boutte. The younger players are playing so well there. But really, I appreciate what you guys are doing so far. You've been spot on with your comments, and I've really enjoyed the pregame show with you, Jeremy, and your postgame show, Hunt, with the two guys. Garrett Brumfield's awesome, and my boy,
Big Fave.
Yeah, Big Fave. I mean, it's great. So I mean, really, I think y'all doing a great job. Keep it up.
Thank you, Charlie. We appreciate it. Jeremy, I'll let you take those two on the running backs. Pass protection, you think TDP is carrying a little bit extra weight?
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't look like he just has that juice that you want to see, that short area quickness, explosion, that burst that you want to see from the elite running backs. I just haven't seen that yet. Saw it younger in his career and didn't see it much last year, but just you don't see that yet. And I've been saying that all along. I think that will just help max out so much, is having a back that you can just run the little check routes with, run the little 2x2s and the little routes out the backfield to be a security blanket. Jack Best has been a security blanket, which is not a bad one to have thus far, but I think it'll just open up this offense. Everyone keeps talking about 19. You had a first-round running back in the backfield that year, and it doesn't hurt to have him to check the ball down too. So I think that's definitely what this offense could definitely help a lot, just finding that back. I think it's probably Armani Goodwin, like you said.
And Clyde, was unbelievable that year. One of the best running back seasons ever, and nobody saw it coming, but the fit for that offense was just perfect. He was great in blitz pickup. He was exceptional catching the ball out of the backfield. He made people miss. They ran that zone blocking scheme, and he was really good at getting real low below those linemen and finding his hole and busting it. He did a great job. Ty Davis-Price doesn't have that skill set, and he doesn't have the offensive line that Clyde had. Clyde had Lloyd Cushenberry, who's a starter in the NFL at center. He had Damian Lewis, who's a starter in the NFL at right guard. He had Sadiq Charles, who's an NFL player at left tackle. And so this group doesn't have that. They've got guys who haven't played to that level, and they've got a revolving door at left tackle. So, the running game is just not the same. I don't know if TDP is carrying too much weight. He was built to get that weight moving downhill through a hole and meet a linebacker or try to run away from one, and he can't get moving downhill because when he takes the football, the offensive line's 2 yards in the backfield. And he's not built to put his foot in the ground and change direction. He can lose 15 pounds. He's still not going to be great at that. It's not his game.
Yeah, I agree, and I think a lot of defenses, especially on first and second down, they're keying on that. They're not really guarding the edges. They're not really bringing stuff off the edges. They know if TDP's in the game, it's probably going to be a run up the middle or a pass play. So they got to start doing some other stuff with him just to keep the defenses off key and try to find other ways to get him the ball. But right now, what we've been doing with TDP just hasn't worked, and I'm cheering for the kid. I want him to do well, but it just hasn't happened thus far.
Let's go back to the phone lines. 499-9898 is the number in Baton Rouge. Tyler's in Karen Crow. Tyler, what you got?
What's up, guys? How y'all doing?
Good, Tyler.
Hey, that Charlie from last year kind of stole my thunder. I was going to tell Jeremy, I remember that South Carolina run, but also that Auburn run in the rain where we kind of beat the crap out of the national champions that year, but whatever. Hunt, I love your baseball perspective, by the way. I really listen to you more baseball because I love your analytics and stuff like that. So shout out to you. Better than your coconut shrimp and Iowa. So,
that's all I could contribute that day. I apologize. But thanks, Tyler.
Hey, so two things. Number one, everybody just needs to shut up about the offensive line. If they suck, they suck. All right? Just get over it. It is what it is. You got to cater around it. Every football team is not going to be 19. We have to understand that. We have to move forward. Hell, the defense sucked for the first 4 or 5 games. Look at the Texas game. We were getting gashed offensively versus Tom Herman. Where's Tom Herman now? Saban's analyst?
He's probably in a closet somewhere in Tuscaloosa, yeah.
Yeah, you got to let this stuff play out. And one thing that I really love is, and I'm mad about him for that, Edo has that fire back. I don't know if maybe that's just me personally, but he's got that I got to prove something now. And I think that's the Edo that needs to stay. I wonder if out of 19, he got that divorce, he kind of maybe beat his chest a little bit too much, kind of ran outside naked a little too much. But I really love that he's got that fire, that intensity, because that Edo versus Central Michigan, where it was the fourth quarter and the offense wasn't moving the ball, and he was still gearing his foot up some people's butt, that's that Edo that needs to stay, because that's that Edo that fires up the team. That's just my take, and I'll hang up and let y'all talk it out.
Well, Tyler, Jeremy, and I can talk about that. We've been at practice the last 2 days, and I can promise you Ed Ogeron is focused this week. That goes without saying, being at practice. We don't need to dive too deep into the matter, but the fact of the matter is he is in a mood this week, and he's got those guys on a tight leash. That's a fact.
Right, but it sucks that for what he did, Ole Miss, USC, came here as the D-line, got the intern, got the gig, had to prove something because all the negativity, got to the top where no other coach probably has ever gotten, and for it to just kind of just, you know what I mean? Like, that just kind of sucked. It's like, I wonder if he took that 19 for granted and thought, hey, I got a program, I'm going to let it go. You know what I mean? Like, I kind of built it, and here's the key, somebody drive. But I wonder if he took that for granted and thought he got the program to where, okay, it can drive itself, it can move itself. I could just put coaches in place, I could put players in place. And I wonder if he lost that fire and that edge of, hey, we got to prove something. Because he always talks about 19. Shut up. It's not 19 no more. You can't, you know.
And Tyler, we appreciate the call. And look, I'll comment on that. He obviously put that 19 team together, the coaching staff, the team. He did a phenomenal job with that. I think look, I'm not with Coach O every day, and I don't know what went into 19 and what goes into 20 and what goes into 21, and I don't pretend to be there for all of that. But I know this: Joe Burrow walked out the door, Joe Brady walked out the door, Dave Aranda walked out the door, and a host of first-round picks from Clyde and Delpit right there, and look, they've had some pretty good players left that team. Patrick Queen, I mean, you can go on for an hour. Caleb. And they just didn't replace him as well in 2020. And then Jamar Chase said, I'm not playing. And Tyler Shelvin said, I'm not playing. And Terrace Marshall said, I'm not playing. And Kerry Vincent said, I'm not playing. And then your starting quarterback got hurt. And they just, it's not on autopilot. That's a totally wrong thing to say. It's not they're not as streamlined as Alabama, where they can just reload the shelves and get back after it. They did a poor job of restocking the shelves and dealing with 2020. And then they came out of the gate in 2021 and didn't play well against UCLA and lost a game. So, no, I don't think Ed Orgeron said, I've gotten to the top of the mountain, I'll just blow this whole thing off. They just lost almost every key cog they had, and they tried to replace him and didn't do a good job. Bo Pelini's not as good as Dave Aranda. TJ Finley and Max Johnson aren't as good as Joe Burrow. They didn't have guys ready to step in, and we all should have seen it, but we were on such a high from what we saw in 19 going, look, they got top 5 recruiting classes. They'll just figure it back out. Not that easy.
Yeah, I think if you trot that team out and everyone plays and you have Jamar and you have Gilbert at tight end, you have the health that you would love to have, I think last year would definitely went totally different. But when you go to the Florida game and what do we have, 50 guys on scholarship just ready to play, the season is not what it is. I think we're not too far off of thinking last year was just a blip, COVID, everything going on, and just injuries plagued the team and plagued the roster. Yeah, I agree with you. I don't think Coach O just, hung it up and said, hey, let me just look at my ring all day and, we're good with that. You're constantly battling, you're constantly trying to find ways to win football games. We had a revolving door at the quarterback position all last year. Now we have our guy. Now we can build around him, and now we can, put guys in position on this offense to really be the offense that I think we can be this year. So Coach O's burning that midnight oil. You can see it in his face. You can see the passion that he's bringing every day to practice, and I think it's going to, bring some dividends back.
Mike's in Baton Rouge. Mike, what you got?
Hey, gentlemen, how are you?
Good.
Good.
Listen, I think that guy that was just on, I think he's correct. I understand we had all the problems we did last year. But when you refer to Alabama or Clemson or Ohio, I mean, that's where we want to be.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we expected from 2019. When you get to that level, Alabama's or Clemson, they've never had anything. They weren't suffering during COVID or, I understand all those situations, but this is where we want to be Alabama now. That's where we thought we were headed. And for it to take a nosedive like it did, it was quite shocking, to be honest. And I feel basically the kids don't have any confidence because the coaches don't have any confidence. Not saying that they're not good coaches, not saying that they don't have a good game plan, but there's a different reason. These boys ain't ready to play football. They don't have a mindset to go out there and be mean like Jeremy used to be mean when he ran the ball. You saw him. You don't have to be big or strong or anything to be mean. You got to have the mindset to play football like they did in 2019.
Well, Mike, let me stop you. Let me stop you real quick because I think because I was right on board with you at the beginning of the call saying, hey, we want to be Alabama. We want to be Clemson. I'm right there with you. And the drop-off was shocking to me too. But when you say they're not mean, well, they're leading the country in sacks and tackles for loss. I thought the freshman wide receivers looked like they were giving it what they had. I mean, do you have specific players and plays in mind of guys that, quote-unquote, don't know how to be mean?
Okay, no, I'm talking about we have played McNeese.
Uh-huh.
And we played who?
Central Michigan.
Okay. We'll see if we mean enough when we get to the SEC. These, like you said, these are preseason games to us, supposedly.
Yeah.
You think we perform well?
I thought they were terrible against McNeese. I thought they were better against Central Michigan.
You thought they were better.
Mm-hmm.
But listen, man, we're going to get our butt kicked if we don't get our head straight. And by these two games, I can tell you, we don't have it. We're going to be the new Arkansas of the SEC. Thank you.
Mike, if we lose 15 in a row, I'll admit I was wrong and I'll dance a jig on the desk here. It's. Look, I understand the frustration because I'm right there with Mike saying we want to back up the 2019 season with great seasons and continue to be an elite program, and to fall to 500 and then come out of the gate and lose to UCLA and look the way they have is grossly disappointing. I am right there. But when you start throwing around generalizations like they don't know how to be mean, they don't have any confidence, I'm going to need a caller to back that up. I can't just sit here and go, yeah, that's right, they don't know how to be mean. Like I think there's some guys out there that are playing pretty hard. They may not be as good. They may not be coached as well. That may be the case. The story hadn't been written on this season, but I got to have a little more juice than that.
Yeah, to me, when I watch Corey kind of run that ball, he runs mean to me. He's stiff-arming guys to the ground. He's refusing to be tackled by the first guy. You can point to all over the field guys that's playing mean. Now, to say that, this is one of those early 2011 defense, I think we'd be fooling ourselves. But there's guys, there's so much talent on this roster. When you go out to practice, when you watch them play, you don't lead the nation in sacks and tackles for losses if you're a joke. We have talent on this roster. But the coaches have to continue to get better, continue to find ways to put players in position to make plays. And Saturday's going to be a beautiful opportunity to open up SEC play and do that.
Take a timeout, Jared. I see you. We'll get you on the other side. It's the Tiger Zone presented by LeBears on Eagle 98.1.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person. Connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team. And backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big D and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
spend that day for me. Yeah, yeah.
Tiger Zone presented by LaBerge Baton Rouge. Sportsbook coming soon. We want to remind you about the seafood extravaganza over there every Friday and Saturday at the Bon Temps Buffet, 4 p.m. to 11 p.m., $39.95. And you can get a snow crab leg buy up, $29.99 per pound. Must be 21 to enter. Go back to the phone lines. 499-9898 is the number to call. I've lost my log. It's Jared from Marrero. Jared, welcome in.
Hey, yes, sir. Well, first, just real quick for the callers asking players to be mean. These players are mean. They're going to do what they need to do for the purple and gold. There's no question, never needed to be asked about that. I've sat in Tiger Stadium and watched people boo players and wanted to kick them in the teeth. They'll be okay. But to the coaching staff, like you said, you had a 3-game sample size for TDP. So I guess we have a 3-game sample size for the coaching staff. Do we, should we, do you trust them to make in-game adjustments and do what needs to be done on the fly, kind of what hasn't happened in the past with LSU? You know, almost everybody could see what's going to happen, what needs to happen, but the coaches don't. And not necessarily this season, but seasons before. So do we trust them? Are we riding with this coaching staff and saying, you know what, when the game's on the line, this staff's going to make the right call, or is this another fumble of a staff?
You want to answer that one?
Yeah,
I'll take that one. I don't think we can answer that question yet. I think we got to see a little more this season. I think you got to get in some of these tougher, close games in the SEC. When you're up by 3 and 4 touchdowns against Central Michigan, you're really not going to answer too many questions. And the same for the week before. And I think, you know, the game got out of hand at UCLA, so you're really not going to learn much there. So I think they've made adjustments post-game and changed strategy. I think you saw that on both sides of the football. But as far as in-game adjustments, I haven't seen enough of that yet. So let's see. I mean, when you don't have any trouble to go against, when you're going up 3-4 scores, there's just really no need to make adjustments. So we'll see kind of when we get into this SEC schedule what adjustments they make and if they do make any at all.
I'm hesitant to jump in on these type of topics because I've never been in a meeting room. I've never been on a headset. I've never been in a halftime locker room. I've never done any of that stuff. So it's very difficult for me to go in there and really have a strong stance. I will tell you this. To my untrained eye, I had blind loyalty and trust in Dave Aranda to call a defense and get that team ready to play and adjust in-game and make it work. Clearly, with what Brady and Ensminger had, I thought they were going to scheme it up and get it figured out every single game, and they did. These two guys I thought were Durante Jones and Jake Peets were underwhelming against UCLA. I saw UCLA getting backs on linebackers and getting them wide open. I saw LSU safeties confused. I saw chunk play after chunk play. I thought UCLA had reps that they won and plays that they won based on scheme. I thought that a lot of the night. And I thought on the offensive side that LSU was too slow to get to the line of scrimmage, was too much check with me oriented, had no rhythm on the offensive side, and counted on Butte to make some plays after the catch to create things. I thought they were underwhelming in week 1. I think they've gotten better through 3 weeks. Now, what they're saying in game, I don't know. How much can you draw from McNeese? None. How much can you draw from Central Michigan? Not a lot. But I think they've gotten a little bit better, and it's their first year doing it. So I'm willing to give them some leash. Now, that leash is pretty quick. You drop the next 2 weeks, all of a sudden we got some issues. But I don't – so the question is, do we trust them? I don't know. Do I think they got outcoached in week 1? I do. Do I think they've gotten better in the 2 weeks they needed to get better before conference play? I do. We'll see what they come up with 11 o'clock on Saturday. That's kind of where we are. I think Jeremy is in Jennings. Welcome in, Jeremy.
Hey, guys. Hunt, I just want you to know that every time I pass by Hungry Howie's, I think of you. And Jeremy Hill, first of all, I love your first name.
Great first name.
Love the number 33. And I hit the top of my head with both my fists like you used to do with your helmet just because it pumps me up.
Oh, I love that. Those bull horns. That's what a lot of people don't know what that was. I was putting my bull horns on so I could run like a bull.
It worked. I wanted to say, y'all were talking earlier about, I haven't seen it. Whenever my kicker is kicking from 57 yards away and in that UCLA game, they didn't even let him try. To me, that to me feels like you're playing scared. Or when I'm watching our players, pass block, and there's supposed to be a wall, and Central Michigan is knocking us backwards. It just, to me, it feels like we're not up to snuff. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm feel like you, Hunt. I'm going to play out this season, ride or die, forever LSU. But it does concern me and kind of worries me. So I was just wanted to give y'all some examples of what I thought, and thank y'all for doing this show, and I hope y'all have a good evening.
Jeremy, we appreciate the call. Look, I would have sent Cade York out there for the 57-yarder, but you were down in the game, and you'd be giving up some significant field position. I don't know what Cade York's percentage is from 57, probably 6 out of 10. I mean, that's better than everybody else in college football, but is it great? Maybe he's better than that. I don't know. But in that point in the game, I would have sent him out there, but I was not going to jump down O's throat for that decision. Field position is important there. You try to trust your defense that early in the season. It's a one-score game, very likely. I don't think at that point it was not 2 scores yet. So, playing scared, I don't know if it was scared. Cautious might be a better word there. What do you think about, and he mentioned the pass blocking.
Yeah, I think like the caller said it, the O-line is what the O-line is going to be. I think especially at this point, there's some spots we can get better at, but to say it's going to be, the power of our team or the strong suit of our team, I think we'd be fooling ourselves. So, but with that being true, there's so many ways to, work around that, just getting the ball out quick, RPOs and everything of that nature to find ways around that. And that's not going away. That's going to be when we go against Alabama, when we go against Mississippi State, Auburn, all these teams with D-lines. We're going to have to find ways to scheme around that and not put those guys in position, to really be having to block there for very long, especially in third and long situations.
The 337 is active tonight. We had Stephon and Crowley, had Charlie and Lafayette, Tyler's in Karen Crow, had Jeremy over in Jennings, and Chad is in Lafayette. Chad, you're next. Welcome in.
What's up, guys? Man, I listen to y'all every day, man. Y'all are awesome, guys.
Thanks,
Hey,
Chad.
listen, man, I got a different perspective of this. I didn't play the level of Jeremy, so I went to a JUCO in Mississippi, played Mississippi. But, man, we're getting used to new coordinators, 5 or 6 new coordinators. I expected the first game, maybe not necessarily go like that, but the second game I was kind of somewhat disappointed in McNeese. I knew the level of competition. These are 18, 19-year-old guys. They know they didn't have to go in there with even a game plan. They were running over McNeese, so it was kind of flat. So I said, you know what? Let me go to the Central Michigan game and let me check it out. Guys, it was totally they getting better every week. The first half of Central Michigan, they ran over, and it's just human nature to relax when you know you got the game in hand. I just think you're going to see a totally different level of anger, however the guy wanted to call it. Against Mississippi State. You're just going to see, I think, a different team come Saturday. And Jeremy, and guys, and one thing else, man, and I'm making y'all laugh right now. We need to switch the music up in LSU. We need to get these guys hot. We need to kind of quit playing. We're from Louisiana, which I am from Louisiana, but that's old school. We need to get the players rowdy. You go to these other venues, whatnot, stadiums, and they are playing. The crowd's jumping up. The players are getting hyped. Jeremy, you need to get in touch with Coach O and get the players' playlist. Seriously, get the players' playlist. Get them going hype. Because I'm tired of hearing I'm from Louisiana. We all know we're from Louisiana, but let's get them boys hype. Let's go, baby. Let's get 'em.
Chad, appreciate the phone call. Look, I'll say this about that. I actually love that song, and you realize that last year we didn't have any fans in the stands. There's nobody to get going. And this year we played McNeese and Central Michigan in front of a total crowd that would not have sold out Tiger Stadium if you combine the two. So, if we can go and beat Mississippi State and show up at Auburn for an 8 o'clock kickoff, I think I'm from Louisiana is going to play just fine in front of what will probably be 95,000 people.
Oh, yeah, man. That Tiger Stadium's going to rock no matter what. You can put some country on. I mean, Colin Baton Rouge gets the people going. So, no, Tiger Stadium's Tiger Stadium. Those fans are going to be rowdy to go, especially in a big SEC game like Auburn. So, I don't know, man. I think the music's fine for right now.
Take one more time out in the first hour. Come back and close out our first hour of the Tiger Zone presented by LeBears on Eagle 98.1.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
This isn't just another day. It's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
It's no secret. The best oysters in Baton Rouge are at Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar. Enjoy mouth-watering South Louisiana flavor and oysters from all over the country. And don't forget our nightly drink specials. Jolie Pearl Oyster Bar, located in downtown Baton Rouge.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Eagle 98.1.
Fast moving first hour of the Tiger Zone here on Eagle 98.1, always presented by LeBerge of Baton Rouge Sportsbook. Coming soon. We'll be updating you when that is going to be into force over there at LeBerge. Mark is joining us on the phone line. 499-9898 is the number to call. Mark, welcome in.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Good.
You asked, a couple of callers back, you asked for an example of being mean.
Okay.
When a running back reaches a second level and he stood up by a linebacker, you can go all the way back to LaRon Landry, probably even before that. Grant Delpit, he would blow that pile up, maybe hurt one of his teammates, or maybe walk around and limp for a few steps before he gets back to the huddle. You don't see that anymore. I mean, I think that's what the guy was referring to. I'm not sure. But I just don't see that aggression anymore. I mean, you can't go in there with half a heart.
Well, I mean, Central Michigan, who's a quality running football team, ran the ball 31 times for 56 yards. I mean, we didn't hurt enough of their running backs? Is that the issue?
No, I'm not talking about hurting. I'm talking about getting to that standard, the linebacker that stood up the running back with mean intentions.
You don't think they did that on Saturday?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I have seen some of it, but I mean, every play it was LaRon Landry or Grant Delpit or some of those guys, and they would walk off with a limp and kind of get back to the huddle because they blew somebody up. Once they understood that their responsibilities were taken care of, like the tight end or the running back, they went straight to that pile and blew them up. I just don't see that a whole lot more now.
Well, I'll agree with you. They don't have anybody at safety that's as good as LaRon Landry or Grant Delpit. They're good in the first round and they're going to be, all Pro Bowl NFL players.
I'm not talking about ability. I'm talking about heart. I don't care if you don't hurt any. I mean, just get there and not run up there and touch your player. I don't know.
Well, like Stingley knocked the ball free.
No. I'm talking about the safeties now. Stingley's performance was great last week.
I just think that that brand of football that you're talking about with the new targeting rules, it's just so hard to play that way nowadays. You're going to get kicked out the game, and if it's early on in the game, you're going to get suspended for the next one. So guys have to really be careful nowadays because you're one play away from getting kicked out. So I don't think what you're looking for, I don't think even if they wanted to, I don't even think that's just possible in this day and age in college football.
Probably so. I would tend to agree with you, but just as quickly, I mean, just as short time ago as Grant Delpit. I mean, he was always there. So I'm just kind of my 2 cents there.
No, Mark, I appreciate the call. And look, I think there have been some issues on the defensive side of the ball. I'm a little more concerned with the coverage bust and allowing big plays for touchdowns than I am the lack of a running back coming away limping. I do think the LSU did a better job stopping the run, specifically the linebackers and what they did up front against Central Michigan. Now, I'm full aware that's Central Michigan, but I thought it was a little bit better. Yeah,
I thought Lou Nichols would have a lot more yards than he did. I was one of the persons that I circled off. I'm like, man, this kid could really have a day if we don't come correct, and we came correct. Our linebackers stepped up. I think Baskerville and Clark are really coming to their own in this defense. They're really trying to understand what Coach Jones wants them to be and how to shoot those gaps and how to really come downhill and play the run, and that's what you're going to need, especially probably not this week, but getting into SEC play and playing Auburn and some of the teams will play. You're going to have your linebackers coming down and playing well, and I think they did a good job of that last week.
499-9898 is the number if you want to get involved here on the Tiger Zone. All right, Jeremy, we've got open phone lines at the moment until it rings again. But last thing, kind of going back to Central Michigan, and we'll kind of point our headlights toward Mississippi State in the second hour. The freshmen obviously showed out on the outside. You saw Deion Smith early and often. You saw Jack Besh early and often. Brian Thomas made a play. What do you think of those guys and how they performed?
No shocker. Just like I've been saying all along, you go to camp and you watch those kids. You just watch them in routes. You watch them one-on-one pass drills. You just watch them play. It's like, man, that's different. You don't see that every day, and that's what I think the 4 freshman receivers bring to the team. We've yet to see Hilton, but I know he probably is going to have a flash at some point. But Neighbors, Thomas, Smith, those kids are studs, man. I think they can come in right away and help us win in the SEC, and they're going to be ready for those bright lights and that opportunities because they got so much talent, so much potential. And right now, I think those young guys, if you throw Kayshawn in that group, those are a solid 4 receivers to trot out there where Saturday to Saturday.
I thought on offense that moving the tempo more quickly helped Max. I thought he did a good job of running the flow of the offense, of getting the ball out of his hands pretty quickly. They took some deep shots down the field, as we just mentioned. Deion Smith made a couple of plays there. You saw Besh make the one-handed catch in the end zone. Those are some things that we knew that they were going to try to do a little bit more of, to go more quickly and to take shots down the field. They did. I liked it. I thought that Max was much better in this game than he had been. 26 out of 35, 3 for 372, 5 touchdowns. Yes, there were some 50-50 balls, some balls that may not work as well against Florida or Alabama, but I'm okay with giving these guys the opportunity to go make a play. That's what this era of football is about. It's not about plowing forward and having 13-minute drives. It's about going to make plays and scoring points. And that's what LSU has the ability to do. If the running game's not going to be there, you've got to try to take some shots to try to make big plays and score points. I kind of liked that as well. Offensively, the running game was not good. There's no two ways about it. Kiner got going a little bit, breaking some tackles late in the game, and he ended up averaging 6.5 a carry. But the run game, not good in the first half at all, which is disappointing. But look, at a certain point, you are who you are. In the first half, LSU ran the football 11 times for 25 yards. against Central Michigan. You'd like to be better than that, but right now they're not.
Yeah, right now I think it's a lot of passing the run, and I think that's fine in this offense. If you're running the RPOs, they're biting heavy on those RPOs, and it's crazy that they were with the run game that we have, but you got to keep doing it. They're going to continue to bite on the RPOs. You keep faking it, and you keep throwing it behind their heads, and so what if the run game's not going? We care about moving the ball and scoring points. I know that's what everyone keeps assessing over, but at some point you have to realize if we can't run the ball, we're just wasting plays, and I don't think we're there quite yet. But I think we're finding ways to move the ball. We're going outside tackle and toss plays and jet sweeps and things of that nature. But I would not be upset if we RPO people to death and just get the ball out quick. I think that's really where we've had the most success this year.
If you love the run game, love pounding the football, power football, I would suggest finding some lunch plans about 11 o'clock on Saturday and finding somewhere that doesn't have a TV. We'll talk about LSU and Mississippi State after we take this final break of hour number 1. This is the Tiger Zone presented by LeBears. It's on Eagle 98.1.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at PatientPlusUC.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
During these challenging times, we know your healthcare needs don't stop. Cancer, accidents, injuries, and heart disease are relentless. So we are relentlessly innovating to keep you safe, both virtually and in person, connecting you with providers remotely, advancing clinical spaces, providing rapid and accurate testing, social distancing, and certified cleaning protocols. We are Auctioner, and we will not slow down. Auctioner Health, innovating healthcare.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone presented by LeBear's, Hour 2 with you until 10 o'clock. Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill. 499-9898 is the number if you'd like to give us a phone call. Get in the YouTube chat, sponsored by Bayou Ford. It's on the 104.5 ESPN YouTube channel. All right, let's turn the page. Southeastern Conference play starting up. LSU and Mississippi State, 11 o'clock on Saturday. Before we move forward, I guess we go back to last year and what happened in Tiger Stadium in the season opener, an absolutely disastrous opener for LSU. It was a day I won't ever forget, really, just going into the stadium, it being essentially empty, the band not playing. It felt like a spring game, and Mississippi State came out and spread the field, and LSU stayed in man-to-man. They had a battered secondary with Stingley was out. He had just gone to the hospital that night, and then you're looking at a Cordell Flott, and then you Jay Ward, who had just been hurt, and Darren Evans, who had came in from Nicholls State, and you're trying to run guys in and around, and Todd Harris was coming back off an injury, and it was an absolutely disastrous defensive performance. KJ Costello, who would get benched 2 weeks later, threw for the most yards in the history of a Southeastern Conference football game, and LSU fell to 1-0 in their defense of a national championship. That game led everyone in the nation to say, oh, my God, Mike Leach now has some athletes at an SEC school, and he's going to go run through the entire SEC, and it's going to work, and this is a great hire, and it's all great. And we would find them to score 30 points over the next 4 games, which is about a touchdown a game, and it didn't work as well. But it was a sad day for LSU fans in Tiger Stadium.
That was just so miserable to watch, just that whole second half. I felt okay in the first half. I'm like, okay, this is just a slow start. We'll figure this thing out. And then their offense just got to cooking, and it seemed like he just couldn't miss, and he was hitting deep go balls, and just everything seemed to work. Crossing routes, drag routes, go balls, they were just hitting on everything, and they looked unbeatable that day. It was mad, and, oh, man, I never want to feel like that again. That was just a tough day to be a Tiger fan.
So you go back to, what we see out of these 3 teams so far this season. LSU with performance where they get pushed around against UCLA, and then you look at a McNeese game where you can't really draw anything, and it was brutal, and LSU got a little bit better against Central Michigan. Mississippi State, I cannot figure out through 3 games. It's just been wildly inconsistent. You look at a team that played Louisiana Tech in the opener. They were down 20 in the fourth quarter of that game, and then they rattle off 21 straight points and win. Then they play NC State and play a dominant defensive football game, win it convincingly by a score of 24-10, and really look strong in that game against an NC State team that had looked great in opening weekend. And then they come back and play Memphis, and, yeah, you can talk about the botched kick return call all you want. They were still losing that game to Memphis by 4 points in the fourth quarter. It's just been, hit or miss for Mississippi State thus far, and LSU really has one nice half to hang their hat on. If you kind of look at it as a big picture, I'll start to get into some stats and some key matchups. What do you make, first of all, Mississippi State?
Yeah, I think middle of the road team. That they're not what I thought they'd be, especially switching quarterbacks. I thought moving on from Costello, Rodgers would have that leap and they'd be scoring a ton of points this year. I don't know what it's been, but even talking to the beat writer earlier today, they just feel like that offense just hasn't clicked and it hasn't found its way yet. And as an LSU fan, that's good news for me, because I don't want those guys flying on all cylinders, throwing it all over the yards for another 600 yards passing. So I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's probably possible this week. I think just with everyone we have in the secondary, cross my fingers, everyone we have in the secondary, I don't think they're going to throw the ball that much.
Well, look, these are the bottom 2 rush offenses in the Southeastern Conference, both in attempts and in yards per carry. So that's not even a matter of how many times we're doing it. That means we can't do it. LSU and Mississippi State are 13th and 14th in the SEC in yards per carry and attempts on the season. They're the top 2 in the conference in pass attempts on the season, which should come as no surprise when I read the first stat. Missouri's tied with LSU, but Mississippi State leads the conference. LSU and Missouri, they're at second. So you look at Mississippi State's passing offense under Mike Leach. They're completing 75% of their throws this year, which is an astronomical amount. but they're 13th out of 14th in the league in yards per attempt, ahead of Vanderbilt, who stinks. So they are throwing a remarkable amount of short passes, which we kind of understand, but we talked to someone who covers Mississippi State on our daily show this morning or this afternoon and said, he said, look, they're not even really trying to stretch the field, and they're not really sustaining drives because of it. They're throwing these short passes. They're getting tackled. They're not making big plays. And the offense, that's why it's stalled at times. I mean, yeah, they beat NC State by 2 scores. They only scored 2 offensive touchdowns in that game, and they didn't have a ton of success, running up the score on Louisiana Tech or Memphis. So it's this passing game that's predicated on lots of stuff around the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, if you're not hitting big plays and you're passing the ball all the time, it's going to be really easy to get you off the field, especially if guys are just getting tackled when they go down. You got to have really elite players in open field to really make guys miss. You saw New England do that for years, just check it down, but those guys were making hay after the catch. If you're not making hay after the catch, it's really going to be tough for you to score points, especially in the red zone. When you can't just run it in, you have to throw it in, throw those tight, small windows in the red zone. You're going to be kicking a lot of field goals. So I don't really see the Leach era getting really kicked off until he figures this thing out. You're either going to have extreme elite talent on the outside, guys you can just throw jump balls to, or you're going to have to find a way to punch it in with the run game. And they just don't have neither one of those things right now. So it's no shocker to me that they can't, score a ton of points on that box score.
They do not. Steve's in Denham Springs. Go back to the phone line. Steve, welcome in.
Hunting Hill, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good, Steve.
Brother, good.
Sure have enjoyed Throwback Thursdays, old partner.
Another one coming tomorrow.
Look, you got film to watch tonight, my brother. Hey, so I've got a question for you guys. So you're a defensive-minded head coach, right? Mm-hmm. And you see the crap that went on last year in the first half of that game against Mississippi State. At what point do you go to your defensive coordinator, who works for you, and insist that you don't keep doing the same crap over and over again? Because my theory is that Nick Saban would have put up with that for about 1 quarter. Maybe a quarter with his defensive coordinator. Am I correct on that assumption?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen people fill a stat sheet up on Nick. It's happened pretty times. Guys have came in there and had days, and they got to figure it out. Can't remember off the top of my head someone just getting fired midseason. I know he let Lane go.
I don't mean getting fired. I mean just going to him and saying, hey, I don't know what this crap is that you're playing on defense, but it's obviously not working. Can we try something like maybe a zone or a cover 2? I just – and I'm not a defensive-minded coach. I'm not the head coach at LSU. I just wonder why he didn't insist with Bo Pelini. I mean, he's not scared of him, but why he didn't insist that you're going to change something now or I'm going to start calling defense. I just don't get it, because that was a complete embarrassment, as you well stated so far in the show.
Yeah, look, I try not to get into those type of decisions because I don't know, but it seemed pretty obvious to everyone that was watching that everything they were doing was a disaster. They were getting beat on every single route combination. You could finally find guys were running wide open. They were hitting big plays. They were scoring almost every time they got the football, unless they threw a pick six at Jabril Cox. It looked easy to me, but obviously that wasn't a decision that was made.
Well, it was like me picking on my son back in like 2003 playing Madden, when he was in 6th grade. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, you're going to keep doing that? Well, I'm going to keep going over the top and scoring on you. So, curious. I mean, those are the wrong guys, so don't get me wrong when I ask the question. I just am curious as why during that game that he and Bo Pelini weren't spitting in each other's face and him making the final decision that you're going to change it or I'm going to change it. So,
yeah. Steve, look, and O did that to Matt Canada in that UAB
sure
game.
Did.
I mean, the Troy
Yes,
game.
sir.
He went in there at halftime and said, "Stop running motion. Period. Don't do it." Not like he's never done it before, but nothing changed in that game. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's true, guys. Well, look, really enjoy the show, and I can't wait for the 2 o'clock hour tomorrow. I mean, second hour tomorrow, should I say. Guys, enjoy it. Y'all have a good evening. Go Tigers.
Thanks, Steve. We appreciate it. We'll take a timeout. We got an extra break, too, to get to in this hour. Still LSU, Mississippi State talk, and we'll take a look at the league, make our picks. That's coming up later in the Tiger Zone, presented by LeBear's on Eagle 98.1.
There it is, the extra mile. On the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
To the heroes who are working tirelessly to care for our communities, we thank you. We will never forget the countless hours you dedicated on the front lines, choosing to risk your own health to fight for our friends, neighbors, and family members.
I mean, you guys are out on the front lines fighting it.
We are grateful for your heroic acts and unwavering spirit. Together, we are overcoming this adversity and make our state healthier and more vibrant again. Ochsner Health.
Make this summer your backyard party year with Chris's Specialty Foods. Wings, burgers, brisket, steak, and boudin, plus great Cajun side dishes. We do all the prep, and you enjoy laughing with friends and family. Chris's Specialty Foods, Millerville, New Orleans, Prairieville, and Frisco.
Everybody loves Chris's authentic Cajun meat.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my 4 boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
Front to Back Boat Service has been family owned and operated for 30 years. And the Sherman family is NMEA certified. That's the National Marine Electronics Association at Front to Back. They are committed to improving the safety and technology of marine electronics through installer training, interface standards. And look, the fall and the winter, it's the perfect time to do that yearly maintenance you've been putting off. Get those parts you've been wanting. So schedule your appointment today at Front to Back North Airway off of Airline Highway.
I've been doing business with Luba for 25 years. They're dependable, trustworthy. It's just the attention to detail with our clients.
Our folks have years and years of experience. They're highly trained professionals, but many companies have that asset. What I'd like to think makes Luba a bit different is that we use those talents in a way that truly is dedicated to serving the needs of the folks who depend on us.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone presented by LeBears. You can sign up with an email address and get your choice of $20 in free slot play, a free bet, or a food credit. Be a My Choice new member over at LeBears Baton Rouge. Hunt Palmer and Jeremy Hill with you for another 45 minutes. Phone lines are open. 499-9898 in the 225 area code. We were talking before the phone call there about LSU's defensive backfield and what they've got to do to deal with this air raid. We figure that based on what teams did last year and what has kind of been the MO, that rushing the passer with blitzes and extra numbers is not something you want to do against a Mike Leach team. You kind of trust LSU's defensive front to be disruptive with 3 or 4 guys. You're going to sit back in a lot of zone, keep everything in front of you, and make them do it time and time and time again. That's what conventional wisdom would say.
Yeah, I would have the tallest defensive lineman I have up there, and then just have them rushing the passer and watching the quarterback's eyes and getting your hands up and batting those ball downs, because it's going to be a lot of dinking and ducking, and those are the easiest passes to bat down. We got a ton of guys who got length, Ollie Gay, Mason Smith.
That's a good start right there.
Yeah, some of those big 6'4", 6'5" guys on the defensive line, just having them put their hands up in the air, and then also just playing a little more zone, having guys with their eyes on the quarterback, being able to rally to the football. You saw Sting do such a good job of that, just rallying to the ball and tackling people to the ground. And I think you do that time and time again, those guys will get home, and it'll be really tough for them to score in the red zone with RDBs.
Getting Jay Ward back is huge, I think, in this game. He's a guy who you can bring down from his safety spot and play man coverage. He can obviously cover in zone. Major Burns made a nice play in zone for an interception in the game on Saturday night. That helps you at safety, and then you feel like the guys you've got at corner, assuming that you're going to get guys back healthy, with McLaughlin's been in and out, Flott's played, feel okay about those guys. Ricks has been good, Sting, obviously. They've got enough numbers. They've got to have a plan, and one thing they've got to do is tackle, and they've been pretty good at that. I know the glaring example is the last touchdown against UCLA. I get it. We missed a couple tackles on the play. It's one play. They've run 300 of them thus far. I think that LSU should be able to do a better job of keeping everything in front of them.
Yeah, I don't really, when I look over to that Mississippi State roster, I don't really see like just crazy guys like, man, when you're going against Devontae Smith, you're going to have your hands full for a full day. I don't think they have those just guys that just pop off your roster and you're just like, man, that's a dude right there. I think we match up extremely well on the outside with those guys. It's just a matter of just staying assignment sound. Those bust coverage and those blown plays, we can't have those this week, especially when you're going and hearing all those thinking cowbells. They'll get those things rowdy and get those things going crazy, especially if you give up big plays. So this is the worst time you can do that. You want to just play sound, make it hard for them, make them drive the whole field, and see if they can punch it in the red zone. I don't think they can, so that's what we're going to have to do, though.
What do you do at linebacker?
Same thing. I'm going Baskerville, Clark, run those guys out there, keeping them in the middle. They're going to sprinkle in a few run plays here and there. They're not going to run a ton, but you still got to respect it and you still got to stop them, because the last thing you want to do is have them passing the ball 60, 70 times, and the few runs they do sprinkle in there, those pop. That'll really get that offense going. So you still got to have some guys in there that can play both, and I think Clark and Baskerville bring the best that we can offer.
The question's going to come, so I'll throw it at you. Do they throw Mike Jones out there and tell him to cover some slot guys?
I don't think so. I don't think so. If you ask me now, I haven't talked to the coaches about him, but I don't think they do it this week. I think it's that offense, and they know what that offense did to them last year. I don't think they risk it. I think there's some time down the road to kind of sprinkle them in there, but this would have been the perfect week for it.
I'll stop you there. Like, where? I mean, Ole Miss?
Yeah, Ole Miss for sure.
Ole Miss likes to run the ball. They are high-powered, but they run the ball a little bit more. Mississippi State ain't running nothing. They don't run at all.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think he's ready. I would love for him. I think he has ability. Just watching him at Clemson, he's a phenomenal player on the edge. If it was me, I'd just put him back at nickel, but I know we're not going to do that. They've already made the switch, but we'll see. I don't think he plays though.
We got nickel guys. I mean, that's not a spot where even if one guy's not ready to go, you've still got guys that can play in the nickel spots. Question is, what do you need to do at linebacker, and do you trust Baskerville and Clark to run in space and deal with some of these slot receivers and H-backs and running backs specifically that the running backs are second leading receiver. Do you trust those linebackers to run with those guys?
That's not their forte. That's not their cup of tea, I would say. They're more run-stopping linebackers. I think the cover guys you're going to look at probably Mike Jones, and Small probably was doing a good job of that, but those guys aren't – I just don't think they're going to put those guys out there. I think they like what they see from Clark. They like what they see from Baskerville, and I think those are two guys that are going to try it out there.
So the defensive front, I mean, how big an impact do you think that LSU's defensive front can have in this game? I know that I was talking to Andre Carter, who his interview will be on the pregame show coming up on Saturday morning, and I spoke with him a little bit after practice today, and it was just talking about what the responsibility is for those guys. And you realize Andre Anthony's out; they're going to kick Mason Smith out to defensive end. Ollie Gay is going to be coming back. You feel good about Evans and what Farrell will give you, Jaquelin Roy, but you realize that they're going to throw it 80-85% of their snaps. So what do you do on the defensive front?
Yeah, I think you got to keep fresh bodies in there. I think the second you start losing your pass rush, especially if you're only rushing 4 or 3 guys, that offense can carve you up. If you just give them all time to sit back there, they're going to have 5 receivers out on routes every play. It's going to be hard to cover all 5. So keeping fresh guys in there that can stay assignment sound and get after the passer and really make Rodgers' day tough. I think once you get after him, we've seen all season, he doesn't really like to get hit that much. So if we can get after him, it's going to be a big day for the defensive line.
Rodgers, not the most talented quarterback in the league. He's not the tallest guy or doesn't have the biggest arm, but he's Leach is a good quarterback coach, and he makes some quick decisions that he understands at the pre-snap, and the ball comes out very quickly, and it's accurate. I mean, you don't complete 75% of your throws without having a pretty good concept of what they're doing. What they haven't done is taking shots down the field, and with LSU's ball skills at defensive back, I don't know that you'll see a ton of that. It's certainly possible, but they haven't shown that of late. And we talked to that Mississippi State beat writer today. He said, yeah, they're not really taking shots. They're really keeping things close to the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. This is probably the worst week for them to try big stuff down the sidelines or on the outside. I think the more and more I watch Ricks and Sting on film, those guys have been locking up all year. You don't see quarterbacks throwing their way, especially down the field. It's just a bad idea. And then especially when you don't have elite receivers that you know are probably going to go high in the draft, because that's exactly what those two dudes are going to do. It's just a bad matchup for you. So I don't see Mississippi State really trying those guys. I think they're going to really try the drag routes, crossing routes with the tight ends, backs out of the backfield. It's going to be a lot of that. And they're going to it's probably a good idea they stay away from Sting and Ricks.
499-9898 in the 225 area code. We're with you until 10 o'clock. Still a lot to get to. We're going to talk about LSU's offense and how they handle Zach Arnett's defense. In the next segment, we'll make our picks for the SEC games on the docket this week. And again, take your phone calls if you got them. Get in the Bayou Ford YouTube chat on the 1045 YouTube channel. If you've got questions or comments there, we will take them as well. We'll take a time out here on the Tiger Zone presented by LeBears on Eagle 98.1.
If you're in an accident, a car accident, a slip and fall where you're injured, you need to call an attorney. The defendant insurance company, it's their goal to close the case as quickly as possible and pay out the least amount of money as possible. That's why it's important to call an attorney and call the law office of O.C. Brown.
At the law office of O.C. Brown, we're a family-owned firm. We want to be your law firm for a lifetime.
I'm feeling good. So good. I just thought you should know.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Are you a licensed contractor? There's lots of good contractors in Louisiana doing work the right way, but unfortunately, too many unlicensed contractors are working outside the licensing requirements. Working as a contractor in Louisiana requires a license for the company doing the work. The Louisiana State Licensing Board for Contractors wants to help you get licensed to allow you to conduct work legally. It's not difficult to get the license. We can help you. Go to lacontractor.org for more information. Licensed contractors, it's the law.
Gulf Coast Office Products is a nationally recognized Savin office equipment dealer based right here in Louisiana. Over 100 employees strong, Gulf Coast has the boots on the ground to support all vertical markets, from education, engineering, legal, and finance. With the latest in office technology, from desktop to production segment units, Gulf Coast and Savin have the perfect fit for you. Call 225-756-2644. That's 756-2644 for Gulf Coast Office Products.
This is a house call. This is a follow-up appointment. This is a diabetes checkup. This isn't just more convenient care, it's more advanced care. This is innovating healthcare at Louisiana's #1 hospital, Ochsner.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone presented by LeBear's. Reminder on Saturday, set your alarms with Jeremy Hill and Matt Moscona here on Eagle 98.1 Game Day. They will be with you at 7 a.m. before the 11 o'clock kickoff. They'll be with you from 7 to 9. I will jump on the network coverage. That's with Garrett Brumfield and Marlon Favorite. We'll be at Cards and Culture from 9 o'clock until 10:30 before we throw things to Chris Blair for the game broadcast. He'll be on 28 minutes after the game goes final, about half an hour. We'll be on for an hour there, and 90 minutes after the game goes final. Charles Hanniger, Richard Condon on Eagle 98.1 Game Day post game. They'll be on for an additional hour after LSU and Mississippi State. So join us for any and all of that as you will. Tigers in Mississippi State at 11 o'clock. We'll flip sides of the ball now. Talk about LSU's offense, which really got cooking a little bit in the pass game with some of the younger players last week. Zach Arnett's a great defensive coordinator. They brought him over from the West Coast. He had been over there for his entire coaching career. Now he's got some better athletes, and they've done a pretty good job. Really impressive stuff for them against NC State, just allowing the one touchdown. They win that game 24-10. Look, it's not a team that has done a ton of blitzing, not a team that's done a lot of tackling people in the backfield. They only have 6 sacks on the season. That's 13th in the SEC, and teams have thrown the ball on a lot and dropped back to pass a lot on them. So it's a 3-3-5 defense, and they're going to play kind of an umbrella, and they're going to try to keep everything in front of them. They're well coached. They've got some pretty good athletes. They don't have a bunch of All-Americans. It's not the defense from Mississippi State from 3 years ago, but it's well coached, and it's a unit that has done a pretty good job this year.
Yeah, that 3-3-5 defense is definitely designed to bend but not break. They want to make you earn everything the hard way. They're not going to try to give up any big plays, and they're going to send some exotic blitzes at you when you least expect it. So that shouldn't be any shock for us. I think we're going to spread them out to make them declare. If you're going to cover up our trips receivers, then we're probably going to hand it off inside. If you put too many guys in the box, I think we're going to throw those RPOs to Jack and underneath to Smith and then to Kayshawn. So I think if we take care of the ball, we should be able to move the ball up and down the field. It'll just be a matter of if we can punch it in the red zone. They're going to give up yards. It's just a matter of we take advantage of it.
They've been really good against the run. After Louisiana Tech, moved it on a little bit on the ground, NC State ran it 25 times for 34 yards, and Memphis ran it 25 times for just 87 yards. So they've been good in that 3-3-5 against the run, and LSU's been poor running the football. So you wouldn't imagine that LSU is looking to have a ton of success running the ball. It's going to be getting the ball out on the edges, and that's why I gave you the stats in the last segment that these are the two teams with the least amount of running attempts and the most amount of passing attempts in the league. That's what you're going to see on Saturday. The teams are going to get the ball out in space. I think LSU's athletes are a little bit better on the outside. They're both quarterbacks that have good, not great arms, that are decisive, that are pretty accurate and make quick throws. It's kind of there are some mirrors there between LSU and Mississippi State, which I didn't think I'd be saying when Mississippi State hired Mike Leach.
Yeah, not at all. You would have never thought that you thought that'd be offense would be running that high cylinder, and you thought the run game would be just a little more in that Leach offense. It's like they just don't even care at all. It's like just not even part of it. They'll throw some stuff in there, but their run game is more like shovel passes. They run these little weird screen shovel pass plays, and they just pitch it to the running back and tell them to take off. So it's really not a run game at all. They're trying to sneak some more passing yards with these little shovel passes, but I think our offense should be fine. I think the run game is what it is. Unless a guy goes out there and pops one, I think the run game is going to look like what it looks like. We're not moving guys 4 or 5 yards down the field, and the yards per contact has probably happened 1 yard or like max 2 yards down the field. So it's just the push isn't there. So when the push isn't there, you got to find other ways to attack them, and that's what we've been doing.
I thought we might hear from the belly of the beast this evening, and it looks like we are. Greg is up in Mississippi. Greg, welcome in. What you got?
But, man, I told you a couple of weeks ago I thought we were the luckiest 3-0 team in the country. I went to the game in Memphis, and I guess my luck ran out in Tunica the night before and at the Liberty Bowl. But I was going to ask you, maybe y'all can talk about maybe LSU's coverage unit on the kickoffs, because I think one advantage maybe State might have if LSU kicks to them is Tulu Griffin. Memphis did not do it. You mentioned some things. I thought Mike Leach got a little cute there when State had a chance to go up at least 20-7 or maybe even 24-7 when they got that interception early in the third quarter. But I looked at the Tigers, and they looked impressive. I think it's like you said, it's who can take care of the football, and maybe it's going to be crossing routes galore, I think, on both teams. Who can get those tough yards inside, and maybe special teams. We'll see if that's the difference. But enjoy the Tiger Zone. You guys have a great show, and look forward to seeing you guys, the ones that come up to Starkville this weekend. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much, Greg. I think that, Griffin's an unbelievable kickoff returner. He ran that kick back against NC State, and that was a huge play in that game. I think I've got a pretty quick answer for that. You know that big Jumbotron they got? Avery Atkins is going to try to kick it off that Jumbotron. You don't get to return many of them when they fly into the stands, and that'll be what they ask Avery Atkins to do. It won't be like what your old coach told him to do. This is kick that thing through, boss.
Yeah, sell that thing through the end zone. I think we're not fooling with it. We shouldn't fool with it all. It's just the juice isn't worth the squeeze. I know Coach Miles wanted to try to pin people deep. You're trotting out an NFL defense. If they can't stop you from going 80, then that's where the problem lies. Kick that thing out the end zone. Don't give that guy a chance to return it in. What other guy would you rather have doing than Mr. 18, Avery Atkins?
He did a good job punting. He was improved punting in the Central Michigan game. The hang time was really good. I noticed a couple kicks. It's obviously easier to talk about a punter when you're in person as opposed to out at UCLA when you're watching on TV. I was impressed with some of the punts he had against Central Michigan. It's not something that's going to draw a lot of eyeballs, but I had no idea until 2 weeks before this season started he was even an option to punt, and he was good on Saturday night.
Yeah, that's what ZVR said when he came in the studio. He said, because I was calling out his number, he was like, I think he was at like 38.5 before the Central Michigan game, and he said he'll be better. He just has to get confidence and, just continue to do it week in and week out, and you'll see that those numbers slowly come up to somewhere around 44.5. So I think that's where Avery's doing. He's 18 for a reason. He comes in the building every day ready to work and ready to go, and he's got to continue to boom those kickoffs, and if we can get him punting the ball, this special team unit, it's definitely going to take a big jump.
In this rivalry, LSU won 21 out of 22 from 86 to 2013 when you finished. And since then, it's 4-3 LSU. Mississippi State's won 3 of those games. So it's a series that's been far more competitive than it was for a very, very long time. You've played in that stadium. You've dealt with the cowbells. What's it like going in there?
Annoying. I tell you that. Those things are super annoying. And I think we didn't score our first couple of possessions. Well, our first possession we didn't score. I think we ended up getting 3. And then it was just so loud on third down. Those cowbells are just so stinking annoying. And then I think I popped one for 75. It got real quiet. And Odell popped one. Then Jarvis popped one. And those cowbells, they just put them in their pockets after a while. So
I went back to the junction to keep drinking. Look, I mean, y'all put up almost 60 on them that night in Starkville. I was on the sideline for the fourth quarter of that game, and it was men against boys that night. And so, look, it's going to be an interesting environment. I think Mississippi State can create a really difficult home field environment to play in if they're good by Mississippi State standards and they're really engaged and they've got some time to get going. I don't think that an 11 o'clock game coming off a loss on the road is going to bring out the greatest Mississippi State crowd. Now it's going to be close to full because LSU's going to travel a little bit. Mississippi State, is going to support this team, especially this early in the season. It's not going to be like it is, when they've had some of those teams that have really had a shot and they brought some big names in there. I think it's going to be playable, but it is loud when they get the cowbells going. I've talked about this a couple times. I really do love the great SEC traditions. I think Auburn flying the War Eagle in pregame is incredible. I think Alabama playing Rammer Jammer after games and making teams that they just beat feel terrible about themselves is awesome. I love the Vol Navy. I think that the Tom Petty won't back down is incredible in the swamp. Calling the Hogs, whatever. A&M's band is awesome. Like I will say when I think that traditions are great, I have an issue with 40,000 cowbells ringing when we're trying to call a play in. Like, no one else is allowed to do that, and it's borderline cheating. They're Mississippi State, and so no one really cares that much because everyone kind of thinks if they're an elite team, they're going to go in there and beat them anyway. I think it's cool that it's their thing, but then I apply it practically to the game, and it's a significant advantage to be able to ring artificial noisemakers. And I know they've got it on the scoreboard when you can and when you can't. They don't listen to that stuff. They do it all the time when they're not supposed to, and they're not really penalized for it. I'm not wild about the cowbells. I'll just tell you.
Imagine 100,000 people in Death Valley with some cowbells or some artificial noise. It'd be just insane.
And I love Duty Noble Field, and I love their baseball weekends, the cooking in the outfield. They built that unbelievable stadium. They have a I love a lot of things about Mississippi State. Cowbells, when we're trying to call plays, I got a bit of an issue with, but I guess that's for a different time and a different place. Cowbells at 11 a.m. when you're sober in the press box, not ideal. Been there, done that. Don't have any intention of doing it anytime soon. So let's take another timeout. We'll come back. We'll make our picks. It's a Tiger Zone on Eagle 98.1.
All new Bayou Ford vehicles come with a 1 million mile powertrain warranty. And with Bayou to You, free delivery right to your door. Need repair? Our service department is ready and available to help you today. The crew at Bayou Ford is going to do right by you.
Eli's always been into grilling. It took us a while to see it, but the signs were there.
What are you doing, Eli?
I knew grilling was my thing. I have been talking about it throughout my career.
Happy with the results?
I am. Got the new grill from barbecueguys.com. It performed great.
My advice, as I always told my boys,
do more of what you're born to do.
Barbecue Guys, for those who were born to grill.
You want cheese on your burger, Pops?
I'll take a little cheese.
Yo, Jake here for Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic, the place that's going to be convenient for you during an inconvenient time. Look, you hear me talk about my four boys all the time, and sometimes things like stitches, well, they happen. And in fact, they have. And Patient Plus is always taking care of us, just like they'll do the same for you. And now with 7 convenient locations across the Baton Rouge area, open from 9 a.m. until 9 p.m., 7 days a week. And also at patientplusuc.com, you can sign up for your appointment on the way to the clinic. That's Patient Plus Urgent Care Clinic. Get in and get better.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary, for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected, supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
Follow us on Twitter at 1045ESPN to cast your vote in the Citizens Bank and Trust poll of the day. Vote daily inside Off the Bench, Hunt, and Hill, the early line. And after further review, Citizens Bank and Trust brings you the poll of the day via Twitter at 1045ESPN.
Oh, hey, what's up? It's Big V and Bubba, 100.7 The Tiger Morning Show. We'd love for you to join us every weekday, 4 a.m. till 9 a.m.
Yeah, everything you want in a show. Country music. We got laughs. We got celebrity in-studio guests. We just need you.
Join us every weekday morning, 4 a.m. to 9 a.m., right where it all started.
That's right. Louisiana's country station, 100.7 The Tiger.
At All-Star Toyota, you get it all. If you're in the market for an all-new Toyota vehicle, come see our friendly and knowledgeable sales team at All-Star Toyota. Located in Baton Rouge at the corner of Airline and Goodwood, we've been serving our community since 2005 by offering a large selection of new Toyota cars, trucks, and SUVs. Get behind the wheel of your dream car and take a test drive at All-Star Toyota today.
Eagle 98.1.
Tiger Zone presented by LeBears. We do it every single week right about this time. Let's take a look at the league.
Looking at the league. Looking at the league. It's now time for our weekly look inside the Southeastern Conference.
First of all, let's go back, Jay Hill. Your thoughts on Alabama and Florida from the Swamp. Gators have a 2-point conversion to tie it, don't come up with it, and they fall just short.
I was right if that was a first half bet. I just knew the Tide would come in there ready to roll and ready to smack
them. They did. It was 21-3 in the first quarter.
Yeah, but no, I think that was a phenomenal job by Mullins. We've said it before. Mullen knows how to scheme up Nick. He's been doing it for years. They put up points. It's going to be a battle. That shocked me in the second half, but they did it. Mullins did a phenomenal job scheming them up. That was a close game, man. Another one I was wrong about.
Say more about Alabama or more about Florida?
I think more about Florida. That was my little sleeper pick for the come out the East this year, and I think they're a team. They're a team. They're not someone that you can just think they're gonna come in town and you're gonna walk all over them. You go and put that up against Bama, and you're a play away from going into overtime. That's nothing to poo-poo at. So I would go. That's more to say about Florida.
What'd you learn about Auburn and Penn State?
Bo Nix isn't that guy, pal. That's what I learned. That Bo just wasn't quite ready for that big stage. Just not the guy I thought he would be. And that's good news for Tiger fans because that means he's not going to be throwing the ball over the yard. They're going to have to run the ball to have any chance.
So we've been picking against the spread. Last week I was 6-2. Jeremy 4-4. We're doing pretty well. I'm 18-10 against the number. Jeremy's 14-14, which is nothing to sneeze at. I do have that 4-game lead. So we'll dive in to the Week 4 slate. We will do it chronologically by time. Obviously, we've talked about LSU, Mississippi State. Georgia is headed to Vanderbilt. Georgia is laying 35.5 points. It's an 11 a.m. kickoff in Memorial Stadium. I'm thinking 80% of the crowd will be in Georgia red and black.
Yeah, I think Georgia. They don't have a pulse over there, so I just have to take Georgia. Normally that many points, I'll take them, but it's Vanderbilt. I'll Georgia.
35.5 is a lot, but I don't see a scenario where Vanderbilt scores 14 points in this game. I don't have any way that they can score 14 points. So now, if they score 7, I'm only got to get to 43. I think Georgia's going to get home as well. I'll take the Georgia Bulldogs on that one, laying the obscenely large number. Another 11 a.m. kickoff. Missouri is headed to Chestnut Hill, Massachusetts. They will play Boston College. Boston College is 3-0, but they haven't really played anybody. Played Colgate, played UMass, and then played Temple. So Boston College hasn't exactly been tested. Missouri on the road is laying 1.5.
I got Mizzou in there. I think Basilak, he's been in those tough road environments. He's played Kentucky already. They're battle tested. Yeah, I'm going to go Missouri. I think they get the job done. I think they cover.
Basilak's throwing for about 300 a game, throwing for 3 touchdowns per game. He's been pretty good. I love Beatty in this game. I think they ride him behind that offensive line. I think he runs for 150 yards in this game against a Boston College defense that hasn't seen anything quite like that. Look, I think Boston College is a reasonable program in the last couple of years, but they haven't played anybody yet. Missouri's been tested reasonably. I'm going to lay the 1.5 on the road and take Missouri right there with you. So we're on the same page through 2 games. All right, the big one for me outside of LSU and Mississippi State in the league, number 16 Arkansas, number 7 Texas A&M from Jerry World. Aggies laying 5.5 against the Hogs. Where are you headed in this one?
The fighting KJ Jeffersons, baby. Let's go Razorbacks, man. We got to get this done Saturday, man. So I'm going Arkansas right here. I don't know what it is about them, but I'm taking Arkansas on this one.
I just think Jefferson stinks. I just think he's a bad quarterback in the league, and that's what they've got. A&M's defense is good. They're well coached. Arkansas is going to try to line up and just straight run it. And I think A&M's going to stand up to that. Do I like Zach Calzada a ton at quarterback? No, I don't. Do I think that Jimbo Fisher's had 2 weeks now to do what he does well, as opposed to toss him into the fire when you had a game plan for Haynes King against Colorado? Yeah. Do I think that A&M can win this game by a touchdown and cover the 5.5? I do. So I'll take Texas A&M in this one, just because I don't think that that Arkansas is going to be able to run for 300 like they did on Texas. A&M is too tough for that. But it'll be a really interesting game. That's the 2:30 game on CBS. 3 o'clock Central Time from Auburn, Alabama. Georgia State, who is 1-2 on the season, will host Auburn. Auburn coming down off that emotional weekend in Penn State. They got to come home. We'll see what the crowd's like. We'll see what the environment's like. They're playing a team that no one's ever heard of in that locker room. It's a 27-point line. What do you like in Auburn and Georgia State? 27.
27. I think 27 is a little too rich for old Bo Nix. I think Georgia State covers that.
You know, Auburn was great against the two awful teams they played out of the chute. We know by now 62-10 was the score in those two games. So when they can get that running game going and Nix is not under pressure, he's really good. I think they'll run away from Georgia State as well. I mean, you're talking about a Georgia State team that to this point is 1-2. Army beat them by 33, and North Carolina beat them 59-17. So I think this is a bad Georgia State team, even an emotional letdown game for Auburn. I will take Auburn to cover that number because they've done it 2 times early in the season before Penn State. This used to be the big game of the day. It's not anymore. 6 o'clock Central from the Swamp. Florida, another team coming off a huge emotional weekend and a disappointing loss. They host Tennessee. Vols coming in. It's a 19-point spread in the Swamp. Who you got there?
Florida. I think Florida. I think Emory's playing a lot better. I had no faith in
No
Emory.
Richardson last week.
Yeah, no Richardson last week. I had really no faith in Emory. I thought if he played the whole game, Bama would be up by 30. And he played well, man. He didn't, shoot the lights out the place, but he played well enough to win that football game. So I think they do enough to cover against Tennessee.
Tennessee doesn't know who their quarterback is. I think that going fast on the road in a hostile environment for the first time may lead to some turnovers. That's death against Florida when you don't have the quality defense that Tennessee had in the 90s. So I'm going to take Florida as well to cover in that one. We're laying a lot of points here, but I just don't feel bad about any of these. We're betting against some bad teams. 6 o'clock game as well. Another conference game. Kentucky traveling to South Carolina to Williams-Brice Stadium. We heard earlier Coach Beamer talking about Georgia having 1,000 five-star players. Won't have that problem with Kentucky. They are at home. Cats laying 5 points.
I got the Cats in this one, man. I think they run the crap out of the ball with Rodriguez and Levis Pazaday in the air as well. I love the fighting Zeb Nolans, but I'm going to have to pass.
He's not starting this week.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pass on him.
I can't figure this line out. Under no circumstance, to me, should Kentucky be less than a touchdown favorite over South Carolina. South Carolina has no players. They don't know what they're doing at quarterback. They're not any good. And Kentucky's a quality football team. They're undefeated in the league. They're undefeated. They've got a conference win. I don't understand this line at all. Everything in my head tells me, hey, then you got to fade that and go with South Carolina. I can't. I cannot, in good conscience, expect South Carolina to keep this within 5 points. I usually, when something looks that obvious, I usually go the other way. I can't on this one. I'm right there with you with Kentucky, so you're not going to make a ton of ground up this week. We'll see. Southern Miss playing Alabama. That's a 6:30 Central Time game. Tide laying 45.5. Do you know who Southern Miss's running back is?
No idea.
Frank Gore Jr. running the football for the Golden Eagles.
Okay.
Can they stay within 45 of the Tide?
45. That's rich. That's very rich. Can they score a touchdown? If they can score a touchdown, they can cover. I'm gonna go. Yeah, I think they cover. I think they cover that. I go just because it's so rich, man. And
Southern Miss.
I don't care. It's just so many points. It's like
no. I'm asking what you said. They cover. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Oh no, I think Southern Miss covers. Yeah. I think Southern Miss covers.
I'll take Alabama just to see. I was gonna take Southern Miss, but I'll take Alabama just to see if you can creep another game closer. Gut tells me Saban takes his foot off the gas in these games sometimes and runs the football, takes the air out, and we'll see. Alabama's got Ole Miss coming the following week. Lane Kiffin's already talking about rat poison. So as we look at that schedule outside of LSU and Mississippi State, what catches your eye there? I think I know where you're going, but I'll just ask.
Wait, for this week's lineup? Oh, of course. I'm A&M Arkansas all day long. I'm gonna be tuning into that game. I think we should be pretty much done playing at that point, right?
So the game will be over, yes.
Yeah. So I'll keep my eyes tuned in on that game. I want to see what A&M can do, see if the hype is real. I know Arkansas is feeling really good about themselves. Coach Pittman has that crew ready to roll, so that I'm gonna be tuning into them. What about you?
Most important game of the entire season right here, the Ryder Cup. That's what I'll be locked in on. Who you got in the Ryder Cup?
USA, man. Come on.
Yes, sir.
I wouldn't mind seeing a little spiciness from Kepka and DeChambeau, though. That would make it fun, especially if we can get it done.
I'll be locked in to the Ryder Cup when I finish up post game. I'll have my eye on Arkansas and A&M. But yeah, let's go Stars and Stripes. Got to get this one done up there in Wisconsin. That'll take our look at the league. I'll take another two games further ahead of Jeremy when we come back and do that next week. Take one more time out, close out the Tiger Zone presented by LeBerge on Eagle 98.1.
There it is, the extra mile, on the border of expected and extraordinary for those willing to go further, like vans customized for work or play, with safety and tech to keep you connected. Supported by a 5-star sales, service, and finance team, and backed by the 1-star you know. So go the extra mile. It's never crowded, because so few have what it takes to go there. Mercedes-Benz Vans.
ServiceMaster Elite create clean, disinfected work environments. As a local business, we take pride in serving the New Orleans and Baton Rouge areas. Our cleaning protocols follow CDC and OSHA standards for healthcare settings, offices, senior living, restaurants, and industrial plants. Contact ServiceMaster Elite to get your operation ready for reopening with germ disinfection cleaning. ServiceMaster Elite, the trusted choice in professional cleaning since 1996.
This isn't just another day, it's so much more. Kelly's life was put on hold when her auctioneer primary care doctor discovered a rare blood disorder. Her doctor connected her to an auctioneer care team of cancer, heart, and kidney specialists. With multiple primary care locations around Baton Rouge, same-day appointments, and online scheduling, we're relentless about keeping you healthy. Auctioneer Baton Rouge, innovating healthcare for Kelly.
I'm Jay Ducote. I grew up learning how to cook at LSU tailgate parties and right in my own backyard. And I created JD's Louisiana products to bring that Louisiana flavor to you at home for your backyard cookout. JD's Louisiana barbecue sauce, Louisiana molasses mustard, spicy and sweet barbecue rub, and more are available at your local supermarkets or by logging on to jducote.com/shop. Put in promo code CST for 25% off at checkout.
Starting in 1974, Central Plumbing has served Baton Rouge and surrounding areas for all of their plumbing needs. Through these tough and trying times, we want you to remember that the Payne family is here to continue to support and serve you. As a multi-generational business, there is no job that is too big or too small. Residential, commercial, industrial, hospitality, we're here for anything you need. 24/7, 365. Give us a call, 225-925-8552.
Eagle
Bengals
98.1.
select Jeremy Hill, running back, LSU.
Wrapping up the Tiger Zone, presented by LeBears every single Wednesday from 8 to 10 following the Ed Ogeron show. We appreciate everybody for calling in. Phone lines are still open, 499-9898 if you want to bug our producer Mike and make him answer the phone again. We'd appreciate it, but we'll be with you here for the next 7 minutes until 10 o'clock. All right, Jeremy, we've kind of looked at this game from every angle, and we'll continue on our daily show from noon to 2 over the next couple of days, and then we'll both have a pregame show. But kind of your sense as to where this team is entering this game. It's a really big one. I mean, you don't generally say that when LSU has their elite teams and they're playing Mississippi State, but this is a really important game.
Yeah, when you go out to start the season opener with a loss, it just makes the season so much tougher. These games just mean so much more. especially if you still are LSU, you still are the team that, you have all the goals in front of you. So you start off SEC play with a loss, it just be brutal for the season. And so winning this game is so important. I think, going and playing Central Michigan the way we did, improving on both sides of the ball, I think it's just a great taste to have in our mouths before we walk into Starkville. We're going to be feeling good about ourselves. The defense is going to feel like they can get them off the field. The offense is going to feel like they can score points, and that's the best way to feel going into a game. And I think this is a great opportunity for Max to really, really, be calm out there, come into his own. If he can play well in this one on the road, start SEC play, it's going to really, springboard him into the SEC schedule.
Hopefully last week gave him a little confidence. I know it's Central Michigan. I know it doesn't make everybody feel better, but hopefully the team feels a little bit better and has a little bit of pep in their step. Look, you get Ali Gay back. That's important, I think. You get Jay Ward back. That's huge. I know. We'll see if Armani Goodwin can go. I don't know about Cam Wire to this point. Hasn't really practiced fully yet. Said he was out there a little bit today, but still not quite there. But you're starting to get some guys back. Trey Palmer, I think, is back this week. We'll see. This is such a pivotal game. I'll look ahead, and we were just talking about this off the air to next week's show. You win this game, all of a sudden, especially if you play well, you got Auburn coming at 8 o'clock at night for a bunch of people that hadn't seen a conference game under the lights in Tiger Stadium that mattered in 2 years. It'll be really, really crazy in there for that game in that environment. You lose this game, and things get testy. I mean, you lose 2 out of the first 4 around here. It doesn't go very well. We watched that last year, and that was coming off a national championship. So it's such a swing game for this season. And look, I think the same thing kind of goes for Mississippi State with Mike Leach. I mean, you look across the state at the buzz they're creating. They got Alabama next week. They're off this week. They're scoring 100 on everybody, and that's the juice that's going in Ole Miss. And you get out of the gates, and you almost lose to Louisiana Tech, and you lose a game to Memphis, and then you get thumped by LSU. It's a game that these two programs really need.
Yeah, this is a tug-of-war game right here. I think it's going to be close early for sure, and I think with turnovers, this game could get ugly for either team. So I think it's going to come out tough. I think both teams are going to know exactly. Mississippi State's going to be feeling great about themselves, being what they did to us last year. They're going to feel like they can do the same thing again, especially with us going into their house. And we feel like the revenge factor. We feel like that was a fluke, and we had a ton of our guys out, and now we're playing well, and we feel good about ourselves going into their place. So it's going to be a great game to see. I'm excited to see what these coordinators do, what type of game plans we do. It's a progression of both of the coordinators from Jones and Pete's. I think it's going to be a great thing to see.
You got a key to the victory for me?
Key to the victory. I think Max take care of the football. I think we're going to move the ball up and down the field all day long and limit their freaking big plays and don't give up anything like crazy easy. I think we can do that. I think our talent will eventually make its run and make its waves, and you'll see the D-line making their plays. You'll see the corners that don't throw at these corners on the outside. It's a bad idea, and I think you're going to see these young receivers just be on full display on Saturday. So if I say the keys to victory, offense, take care of the ball, defense, no big plays.
It's so easy, but Ed Ogeron said this I think it was either on the teleconference or on his show with Chris Blair. I can't remember. I listened to both. But he said they got those cowbells going and they got the energy going, and we got to get our defense communicated to, and we got to make things as easy as possible for them so that they're in the right place. The guys are good enough that they're in the right place. They'll be okay. That's an easy key to the game, but it's communication in the secondary. They've had busts in 2 of the 3 games. Well, actually all 3 if you count McNeese at the end, which I don't really. But Central Michigan, they had a couple busts, and UCLA, they certainly did. That's what you got to eliminate.
Yeah, that's something that we definitely have to do going into this game. We got so much talent on that side of the ball. The D-line, I think our linebackers are playing a lot better. Obviously, our corners on the outside. And I think with Jay Ward coming back as a safety, now I love our safety. So if we can get these talented guys in position to make plays, they're going to make plays. You can't throw at these guys. They're going to pick the ball up. They got great ball skills. And our defensive line's going to get after the passer. So continue to just find ways to build confidence, play-by-play, series by series, and this defense will eventually be flying around and playing this Durante Jones defense at a high level.
Is Moscona cooking you breakfast on Saturday?
I don't know about that one. I'm sure he's going to be talking about Game Coin for a good bit, so I'll get my Game Coin hat on, ready to go.
Who's bringing the coffee?
Oh, man, I'm going to have some on the way there because it's going to be an early one.
Set your schedule for the rest of the week. We're with you noon to 2 every single day on 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. It'll be a Throwback Thursday tomorrow, and we'll talk a little Saints and a lot of LSU Mississippi State. You won't want to miss that on Saturday. Jeremy and Matt will kick things off. Eagle 98.1 Game Day. That's at 7 o'clock in the morning. They'll take you to 9 o'clock. I will take over on the network from Cards and Culture. Myself, Garrett Brumfield, Marlon Favorite will bring you right up until kickoff. We'll throw things to the broadcast team. We'll be back on the air 30 minutes after the game goes final, taking your Twitter interactions and hopefully reacting to a Tiger victory. Charles Hannegriff and Richard Condon will be on for an extra hour after we go final there, after 90 minutes after the game goes final right here on Eagle 98.1. So we will look forward to all of that. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday night. Join us Thursday noon to 2 on Hunt and Hill. This has been the Tiger Zone, as always, presented by LeBaron.